Hey everyone, thanks for walking by. With the release of Gen 9, it brought a lot of new mechanics to the Pokemon franchise. From terastallizing to Team Star bosses, Titan Pokemon, and over 100 new Pokemon, not to mention an open world that actually works. It's clear Gen 9 raised the bar in terms of concept, maybe not performance. With Gen 10 right around the corner, it's only natural to speculate what new ideas might come out of it. After all, 10 is a big milestone. And with the direction the games are headed, I think Pokemon fans would expect nothing less than a big leap forward. With that being said, here are some of my ideas for what I think Gen 10 could bring. Let's start things off strong. A true regional form of Pikachu. There have been a lot of Pikachu knockoffs, but we have yet to see a true regional form. Now, there's a lot of ways that they could do this. Personally, I think it'll either be a normal type Pikachu, or they might introduce a new type of Pokemon in Gen 10 and showcase it with that regional form. More on that later though. Despite what type they choose, Pokemon is bound to put a ton of work into their Pikachu design, and I don't think they'll disappoint. Along with this new mouse, I think there will likely be a huge new roster of Pokemon introduced. From Gen 5, with the highest amount of new Pokemon at 156, to Gen 7 with the lowest at only 88, I think Gen 10 will bring us even more new Pokemon than any other generation, perhaps even maxing out in the 200s. It would make even more sense to have a bunch of new Pokemon if they did introduce a new type. Gotta make that type significant in the Pokedex. On the topic of type, what should this new type be? The first thing that comes to mind is something that kind of already exists in Pokemon Go. That's Shadow type. Now, Shadow type isn't really a thing in Pokemon Go, but they do have Shadow Pokemon. It could be an interesting idea, but I'm not really sure how they would mesh it with the existing Pokemon. Like, would something like Gengar become a Shadow type? Would it have to lose its poison typing to do this? Or would they perhaps introduce a first triple type Pokemon? As someone who already struggles with Pokemon types, this could get out of control pretty easily. Another type that has a lot of buzz lately is Sound type. It's a pretty cool idea, probably based around Exploud, but there's a lot of interesting things that could be done with this. Even the type resistances and strengths might make a little sense. Sound type could be good against water, fire, or flying, because sound doesn't have an issue traveling through these elements. They could also be weak to things that muffle sound, such as dirt or ground, rock, or ice, because of the dense material. I know it's not perfect logic, but maybe it's a start. The last idea I had for a type is artificial type. It could have something to do with a man-made Pokemon or unnatural Pokemon, such as Mewtwo or Porygon. They could even introduce a new type with a plotline involving a bad guy trying to create new Pokemon. I know that's the plot of the first movie, but maybe the same scientists that made Mewtwo can come back for another appearance and try to scale it? I don't know, but could make for an interesting story. On the topic of type, I want to also mention different dual type combinations. As of now, there are only 9 dual types that don't have Pokemon assigned to it. They are Normal Ice, Normal Rock, Normal Steel, Normal Bug, Fire Fairy, Ground Fairy, Bug Dragon, Ice Poison, Rock Ghost. The thing that stuck out to me with these dual types is the normal with Steel, Ice, and Rock. Perhaps Gen 10 could have a Reggie regional variant for the legendaries? Or maybe they could be artificially created and assign the additional artificial typing too? Whatever they decide to do with these types, I think it's pretty probable that they'll assign all 9 of these types to Pokemon in Gen 10. Especially since Gen 9 introduced 7 never-before-seen dual types. Remember, Gen 10 needs to be big. The next big question is about the region itself. Every Pokemon generation is based on a real-world location. To date, these locations have only been in Japan, Europe, and the USA. This leaves most of the world out and gives a lot of options for what the new region might be. My best guess is it'll either be somewhere in South America, Africa, or the Middle East. Of these options, I think it's most likely for Gen 10 to be based off somewhere in South Africa. South Africa has a lot of interesting history and a diverse ecosystem of plants and animals for Pokemon to draw inspiration from.
There are around 40,000 plant species, 3,000 types of fish, 1,300 types of birds, 430 mammal species, more than 380 species of reptiles, and a whopping 2.5 million different types of insects in the Amazon rainforest.
Thanks to Incredible Earth for that. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think any of these regions would be really cool to see, and hopefully Pokemon decides to expand to new regions and explore new ideas. Now, some rapid fire ideas. Adding a luster ball like in Pokemon Blazing Emerald that will make any Pokemon it's used on turn shiny. It's an interesting way to give everyone a mandatory shiny and let the player choose what they want, obviously making legendaries and mythicals exempt. Next, I'd like to see scaling gym leaders, so you can truly do the gyms in any order. Also allowing for players to go back and challenge the gyms. When doing this, the gym leader's Pokemon will scale for the player's badges, so you can challenge a gym 8 times, and every time the gym leader's team will be different. Another idea. Gen 10 could give a throwback to previous gym leaders or characters. For instance, the first gym could be Brock, second could be Bugsy, maybe one of the Elite Four could be Leon or Professor Oak. There's a ton of throwbacks they could put in here that I'm sure would make Pokemon fans excited. Pokemon in VR? Yeah, probably won't happen. But it could be a pretty interesting idea, especially since Pokemon has never been a stickler for state-of-the-art graphics, and a ton of it is just turn-based. The last idea I wanted to touch on was a new gimmick for Gen 10. We've had Z-moves, Megas, Dynamax, and now Terastallizing. These things have given Pokemon new moves, stats, more health, changed the type. What else could they do? The only thing I can think of is changing the Pokemon's ability. Perhaps the new gimmicks will allow Pokemon to swap abilities in the middle of battle, or give them the ability to have a whole new ability. It might involve giving your Pokemon an item that assigns it a specific ability, kind of like a Mega Stone. The last thing I wanted to touch on is what I think the plot of Gen 10 could be. It could be based around some evil science guy trying to turn regular Pokemon into shiny Pokemon, and something goes horribly wrong. This results in a different appearance and ability, or the ability to change abilities in the middle of battle. The stats could even change slightly or even be inverted, making a strong special attacker into a strong physical defender. Maybe that's going a little too far though. Might be good for Gen 11 though. In the end, there are tons of things Pokemon could do for Gen 10, and I hope they decide to do at least a few of the ideas, or at least bare minimum, give us something new and exciting. I wanted to end off the video with my idea of how I think Gen 10 should go. Oh hey, I'm this 30-year-old man who always wanted to be a Pokemon master, but I didn't do it before, so I'll just do it now. Oh, these are some great starters, but I think I'll take the one that looks like a cross between a mountain and a shark with muscular arms, because that's badass. La la la, going around beating up level 2 Pokemon. Oh no, a baddie. Looks like they're doing some science to make Pokemon shiny or something. This is bad and I will stop them. Big Boss Man pays no attention to me and sends her 10-year-old son to battle me instead. I win the battle very easily. Now that I've beaten this child, I'm off to collect badges. I've collected a few badges and now I'm at the 4th gym. Oh no, the baddie's kid is here, and he just beat the gym leader. I learned that he is now collecting badges too, but doesn't want to admit it to his mama because his mama has dreams involving him becoming evil. We battle and I beat him again, and then I go collect more badges. I got a couple more badges. Just after the 5th gym, I meet up with the baddie again, who successfully made a Pokemon shiny, but has some side effects, and now they're all messed up. The baddie battles me and creams me because of the shiny Pokemon. Oh, I'm at the Pokemon Center. Oh, and the baddie's kid's here, who says that he doesn't want to be evil. He tells me where the secret lab for shiny Pokemon is, and I go check it out. I beat all the grunts and find the lab's secret recipe, now having a chance to transform one of my Pokemon into shiny Pokemon. I choose the Fire Mountain Man Beefy Arm Pokemon thing. My Pokemon transforms into a new color and style with all new powers. Baddie comes up to try to fight me, but I beat her with my new Pokemon. I leave and challenge the next gym. Now this is where the story gets good. If you use the shiny mutant Pokemon against the gym leader, they'll react in different ways depending on the personality of the gym leader. After beating all 8 gyms, you'll meet up with the kid, and depending on how much you've used your shiny mutant Pokemon, the kid will react differently. He then says there's a way to make your Pokemon normal again, but it will lose all its stat buffs and go back to normal. I then need to decide what to do, change my Pokemon back, or keep the Pokemon and battle the kid. If I battle the kid, he'll never be seen again in the game. After this, I head to the Pokemon League and do that as normal. The Pokemon League champ is the last battle, and he has a team of all shiny mutant Pokemon. It's then you find out that if you turn your Pokemon back to normal, yes, the stats would go back to normal, but it'd also get a buff over other shiny mutant Pokemon, making it much stronger against the champion. I then battle and defeat the champion. Then some post-game stuff where I can do tasks or puzzles or something to get more shiny mutant Pokemon, and potentially change them back to normal to get the bonus damage to shiny mutant Pokemon. The end.